We are live. Wow, we are live. Hello, everyone. See, I feel calmer just sitting next. You never introduced yourself. Hello, everybody. But already, the Zen vibes are among me right now. Sandy, you here, so you might not be how. So welcome everyone to the Use Fresh Talk podcast. As you know, my name is Chantel, aka Forward, and behind me, you just saw
Dr. Cindy Vanier.
Dr. Cindy Banyay.
But listen, y'all, it's my birthday tomorrow, so I'm going out. Yeah, it's my birthday. I'm turning old as fuck.
So basically,
So I'm going out. So Chantel's taking over for tonight.
I'm here with you remember when Trina was talking about nevertheless, I'm talking about Cindy is on her way out to her pre-birthday celebration. I was trying to get us all set up tonight for a beautiful conversation that I'm excited to have with one of my best friends. I haven't spoken to you in a while, so you about to catch me up live. This is Mr. Antwon Lindsey. I met Antwon kind of, maybe 2 years ago. Him and I were both in a play together called The Food. Shout out to the Alliance. And so I encountered his spirit. You ever encounter somebody's spirit that like I have more in my life? And immediately upon encountering Brother Antwon, I felt like he said, you never. He was like, all right, we've been friends, we just best friends. And that's how it goes. But shout out to those. But welcome to episode number 4. I'm excited to have a conversation. Please go ahead. Mr. 305, I don't know how to address you because there are so many titles. Even though I know you're not one for the titles, but there's so many things. Brother, friend, even how that little sorority, black sorority and fraternity bond. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And you?
Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay. So first time here. This is our first time. See, let's just keep it rolling.
So, Antwon Lindsey, everybody. Great to have you all here with us tonight. Filmmaker, writer, author, educator.
All
A
around
lot
good.
of great things.
What's your favorite? Out of all of those, what would you say is your favorite title?
Filmmaker. I enjoy that
Filmmaker.
process.
Okay.
A whole lot. It's very intricate.
Okay.
You gotta, be able to lead different people in different directions to get different things done.
Right.
It's a beautiful piece of art.
Absolutely. And so Mr. Antwon Lindsey blessed Southwest Florida with several months ago before Hurricane Ian ravaged through our community. But he blessed us with Hush. Help us say help. And basically that is the film that he produced about Black mental health. So talk to us a little bit about Hush and how Hush came to Southwest Florida. Fort Myers, because you're not even from here.
No, not even from Fort Myers.
See, I told you that's that 305. That's that Miami. What part of Miami you grew up in?
Liberty City.
Liberty City. And I'm asking like I know all the different parts of Miami. So that's the thing. See, thank you. See, why are you not here? Because you're supposed to be going to the birthday party, but you're still here.
But listen, so
So-
friend Lee Pitts, right?
Shout out to Lee.
He gave us the idea for juice. I don't even know.
Miami
has the oranges, but Fort Myers.
You heard that before.
I heard that.
You heard
I
Lee
ain't-
Pitts
I
come.
ain't agree with that. I agree with that.
Wow, so this is the first person ever that has disagreed with us saying that Miami has oranges, Fort Myers has juice. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Listen, the juice in Fort Myers, I think is exaggerated.
Wow.
We can say Fort Myers has the oranges, Court School Road out there in
Wow, so you don't really.
and Miami has
Wow,
the juice.
this is.
Okay.
So you said Miami got it.
We got
Speaking of juice, did y'all hear like all the sickly orange juices being recalled for all those high prices? Cindy, get over here and share the details, please. Is that
It's not him calling out.
But yeah, I guess the selfless juice that we thought we were like high class.
Juice?
Simply Orange. Did you hear about it?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, what happened is they just had, are they facing a lawsuit or something? Because they found high levels of toxin in the Simply Orange juice.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, we believe in you, Simply. Like, you are supposed to make us feel good about it. But anyway,
I was gonna say, truthfully, just like we just so much processed food.
that's
Everything
true.
is processed.
That's very true.
When do we
Peace out.
start eating a little bit healthy?
That's
I mean,
true. Yeah, even Tupac said we gotta change the way we eat, change the way we live, and change the way we treat each other. And my relationship with food, I love food actually, but I've always had a very up and down, my levels of consciousness. Like I was vegetarian for 4 years and stuff like that. But we gotta get back though to you talking about our juice here is overrated. Of course
you
we
want to
gonna
talk
get
about
there. Of course we gonna get the honey. But don't be coming from folk now. See, that's what they do. They come over here from the city and be sucking up our live juice and then talking about our juice is exaggerated. I was just playing.
Listen,
But
I
listen,
love whatever it is. If it's juice Miami, juice orange juice, we all got the juice.
we all got the juice. And that's why we here tonight. Celebrating fresh juice. This is talk to me about us, right? So like I said, I was introduced to Antwon through another play that we were a part of. And then I learned that this guy has like several books that he has written. And he's just so chill and laid back with your rehearsals as we're waiting. He's talking to the rest of the cast like, yeah, if you go on Amazon, you can pick up my new book. So I saw Antwon immediately as a person that you care about the health and well-being of self, uh, your community, of those around you, and you want to project that consciousness onto other people so that they can be aware and be transformed by the messages. So Hush was, I was shocked. And I'm not going to say that I was shocked because it's just like a local friend that you don't expect them to produce something on the degree of something that you really would see on Netflix. And that's my honest opinion. The speakers that were there wasn't somebody that I felt like I heard every voice before that was presented in the film. You had former political leaders giving commentary. You had professors giving commentary. And these were valuable, like rich conversations that they were having around Hush, the documentary. So talk to us about what first, what produced Hush.
So my life experiences produced Hush. I went through a lot of different things growing up in the city, Miami. Having to see a lot of the violence, having to see a lot of the dysfunction in the community, having to see us, essentially segregated from a lot of resources.
Okay.
And what does that do to a person's mind? What does that do to a
So
family?
one would ask the question, right? Naturally, how do you go from, because I've heard this story before.
Right.
This is just the first time that our audience is getting the opportunity to hear about you seeing friends go through these changes in neighborhoods and communities ravaged by violence, whether it's drug use, whatever the case may be. But how do you go from that to where we are today, where I'm the producer and I have this message I want to tell? At what point did you say, nah, I'm about something
It always been in me. It ain't like it was never there. It's just when you around something so long, the environment, it's what you naturally get attuned and get accustomed to. So when I'm seeing homeless doing certain things,
right?
I'm involved in that space along with them.
Yeah.
But
So
it
what?
was always in me.
So what? It's always in you, but like
What was the tipping
you
point?
could have been one of those stories that went the other direction. So to push in a more positive direction where we can have you around a little bit longer, where did that come?
Truthfully, I don't think I would have ever ended up one of those stories.
Really?
Because like I said, it's always been in me. I always looked at stuff that people was doing like, yeah, that's stupid. Like, why would I do that? You want to get yourself killed? You want to go to jail? All these different things. I know that wasn't a fate that I wanted to have.
Right.
My uncle, he said he went to college for 13 years. That's what we call a prison.
Oh wow.
So he transitioned his mindset from that, and being able to go and see him there, several times as I was growing up, and having a godfather that was there, I saw what it was like. People being stuck, they can't be home. And so, different life experiences, I always knew that that wouldn't be me. Seeing friends pass away, through gun violence and stuff, it was just happenstance. I just so happened not to go with them that day when things went wrong,
Right.
but
Wow.
always,
Talk about grace.
always knew that I'd be doing something like this.
Well,
Doing great
thank
things.
God because, like I said, you have to be intentional. I've been listening to people speak, influencers speak about the idea of being intentional, whether it's with your walk with God, your journey with self, your journey with health, even forming friendships, investing in friendships.
Yeah.
And so I found myself in this intentional space. I wanted to claim what you were expressing, what you were admitting now. And so that's what there I would say, church would say it's like an anointing on your life. And I feel like it's changing. Like growing up in Liberty City, what was your personality like? Because now you are Zen Buddhist, but were you like this like as a kid in Liberty City?
Yeah.
I'm
telling you,
I don't believe it.
I'm telling
Watch
you,
us like
it
a
was like,
video
man,
out there of you rapping or something.
Twan always laid back, man. This and that. The funny thing too is that people used to always think, like I used to have really long hair. For whatever reason, they would always think like, oh, he got all the girls, man. It's Twan, what a girl is that?
Right.
Just
You
chilling.
chilling. You not even thinking about that.
I'm thinking about
your future.
literally thinking about my future, art, what I want to do. I want to,
So you've been dreaming.
I've been on
I
that
feel
path.
that. I feel that.
So-
Because even when I was a little girl, like I was dreaming. Like I can see what you mean when you say it's always been like you just follow a certain
Yeah.
path, and the next thing you know, if you stay consistent and steadfast, you're still on that path, whatever that is.
But like I say, for me, I was talking to my best friend about this. I say for 2/3 of my life, one of my male best friend, we was talking about this about a week ago. I was like, man, for 2/3 of my life, it's been what other people have told me my life, supposed to be, should have been. A lot of the things that I've accumulated, the experiences, the concepts, the ideas, it was about the environment that I was in.
Right.
So I didn't have a lot of faith in myself. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't have a lot of faith in the the idea that I could do it. It wasn't until I had my son when I was 19.
Right.
That's when I moved over here.
I bet that changed things too. Like 19 years old.
It really
Did
did.
you take fatherhood seriously immediately, or did it take you a while to
Nah, it was. So the thing about it, my grandma, she worked in a daycare like my entire life. So I was always around kids. Even when I was a kid, we went to a daycare, grew up, we would go volunteer at the daycare. So, taking care of a kid, we already knew how to do that.
Right.
Babysitting little cousins,
So you were ready.
Yeah. So when he came, it was on and popping.
Oh, shout out to your son.
Aiden Lindsey.
All right. Shout out to Aiden Lindsey. Your dad out here doing big things, inspiring the world. I like that.
So he having him definitely, sparked me to start looking at things a little bit differently. Like, okay, I wanna do some experiences in life. That way I can learn more about this life that we live in. So that way I can be able to share it with him.
Definitely.
So that way when he gets older, if he wants to come to me for any sort of advice, he know that he has a man, a person in his life that he can go to.
You hear this?
Get some guidance.
Aiden gonna listen to this podcast in like 10, 20, 30 years. Be up here falling like, wow. Talking about me. That's what's up. We need to see more Black fathers at home. Did you experience Black fatherlessness in your upbringing?
I wouldn't say fatherlessness, but misplaced. I'll use that word.
Misplaced.
I'll use that word, misplaced.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
My idea of what it should have been wasn't what it was.
I got you.
So for me, it was misplaced.
Definitely.
And it's something that, even with my son, we sort of experienced a little bit of misplacement.
Right.
He lives on the East Coast with his mom. But the difference for me and what I know I experienced is just that that connection, that bond,
that relationship is
that
there.
relationship is,
And it looks
is definitely
differently too.
solid.
There's so many ways now to stay in touch with a child that lives in a different city, with a different state, and like you said, have those tight bonds and those relationships through your actual conversations. I wonder how things would have been. So I didn't grow up in a household with my biological father. My mother was single for a part of the time, but the other part of the time she was married to someone who was not my father. So it's like I can say that my father was not in my life. My biological father was not in my life. And there were periods that I had a father, but that continues to be, part of the conversation in our communities where people feel as though there is this attack on Black families in particular, on families, but Black families even more so. Do you feel like there is an increase in participation, or do you feel like there is a decrease in participation in Black homes? Do you feel like Black couples are staying together, are being intentional about staying with one another? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't really know if it's really, I can't quantify whether it is or isn't. But from my experience, I see that a lot of people are just misguided on what a relationship is supposed to be like.
What a relationship
What,
is supposed to be like. Whether it's with mother-daughter, mother-son, father-daughter, father-son,
Right.
what do these relationships look like? I have this title of mother, of father, but what does it mean to father, to
Right.
mother? And that's something you said that you feel like you came in and you were like, yeah, that instinct to just jump in there and start, whether it be nurturing, whether it be providing for and supporting.
Think about this. I had to make, I made a conscious sacrifice to say, well, okay, I'm down here, living over here. I know the opportunities are limited as far as me being able to grow in the potential that I had there. And let me go ahead and experience something different,
Right.
and move out so that way I can be able to show my son that he can do the same thing. Because so many
Absolutely.
people get stuck and trapped living in the community, and they never leave that little square, 10 square mile radius. That's where they at their whole entire life. And so for me, I stepped outside of that. I saw a lot of different things.
So stepping outside of your physical environment,
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps stretch your mind also.
Yeah, I'm okay by myself.
I think so too. I think you don't want to sound as though you're bragging or you're looking down on people who don't expose themselves to new content, new material, new environments too often, but you do see the value in it. You see the value of that growth and that transformation. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but I tell people all the time, especially young people, leaving the city of Fort Myers, Florida, was the best decision that I made because it gave me time to see myself outside of my environment, to figure out who I was and what I cared about over the years. And hey, it even gave me time to make mistakes without, my church and my mama and everybody being in my face. And in my
What do you consider mistakes? Why you say mistakes?
So the reason I called them a mistake, and when I was a teacher in China, we had this big sign on the board. It's okay to make mistakes. So the things that I consider mistakes are times where I legit did too much in a circumstance, and it almost got me killed. Yeah. Like I have a story, and I'm just gonna put it out there, but I have a story of where I took something from somebody. I took what I thought was a brownie.
Wow.
And the panic attacks that come along with something when you have a brownie and some extra stuff in that brownie. And I think I could have died there just because of just doing too much. So just a mistake with ignorance. Ignorance leads to those mishaps, those accidents, those unfortunate events that bring you really, really close to a permanent ending. Because we can bounce back from things, but these situations be changing our lives. So that did not happen here. And just so many moments where I felt that I had the opportunity to just evolve without the judgment of people. I mean, I still face that judgment, especially for me, growing up in the Black country. My family is well known, my mother is well known. And then guess what? I'm a whole lesbian in these streets. And I didn't just become that way overnight. So it's that period of just who are you? What do you care about, but that was tough for me. That was tough for me in the relationships that I held with people in my hometown, people in my church, even within my family. That was a tough concept to embrace, knowing that so many people were anti that lifestyle. And even me for myself, I mean, I grew up in the church, so even me having that conversation with others throughout the years about how this is wrong, God does not want this, God does not this, that, and the third, just kind of echoing the same expressions that I heard growing up in the Black church, growing up in the faith, and the level of judgment that you see, but it's almost like that elephant in the room, right? Because so many Black musicians, and Black musical figures in our culture. See, I don't know if you grew up in the church. Did you grow
I
up
went
in
to church, but not I didn't grow up in the church.
But you can understand, like that culture of no, this ain't what we do. This is not what we promote. This is not what we embrace. And you're living this way, and I'm comfortable, and I'm here now in this skin and in my skin. But man, the journey of getting to this point, the inner conflict, the conflict with friends and loved ones, and the conflict with my faith, and just seeing how I gave myself, I intentionally gave myself the gift of pushing myself to understand and learn different things. And this came all throughout the years. This is not necessarily tied to the story about me coming out as a lesbian with the upbringing that I had. But, it was a long journey. But pushing out with those things, that's another thing I like about you. I don't get too many Black men around here hollering about, Buddhism and the concept, the beautiful concept that I love about Buddhism, and it teaches attachment is linked to suffering. Our attachments.
Mm-hmm.
When we are attached, we suffer. And so when I again encountered you, I don't know how I found out it was on the book. I don't know if I read it in a book, but I said I can respect that. But yeah, that conversation was faith and culture and just the evolution, but so many mistakes were made. I almost didn't make it.
That's what you think.
I don't know. I don't know if it's designed, if it's pre-written, if it's
That's what you think.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's like, do you think it's written out for us?
I don't know about it just being written
Tell
out.
me how you came to. We'll talk about Buddhism for a little bit. What's
So,
your relationship like with Buddhism?
so Buddhism, we can throw the identity on it, right? Buddhist. I don't really think I'm Buddhist. I'm just somebody that studies Buddhism. I don't follow it to an everyday standard of how I do things, but I do understand some of the principles, some of the lessons in it, and it resonates with my life. Just like some people, who go to church or things like that, Christianity, they may identify as Christian, but for me, it's like you can't really put nothing on me because I understand all of
you
it.
can appreciate, and that's
I
why I am
understand
too.
all of it.
That's why I've been for a very long time when it comes to faith. Like, a lot of us have roots in Christianity. Some of us have roots in Islam, and you grow with that foundation. And in my opinion, a damn good foundation because I thank God that I had the kind of Christian upbringing that I had. I hated it at the time, but I was glad that I went to Christian school, so it was all straight and unnecessary. And for me, I felt like it stifled a lot of creativity. Like I knew as a child that I liked running my mouth. A lot of adults felt like my mother allowed me to be too outspoken when I was a kid. Like they felt like, why are you allowing her to talk? But my mother always encouraged me to express myself. But then when I started expressing myself to her, all of a sudden it's a problem. But anyway, but nevertheless, like I said, I gave myself the gift of exploring different faiths. And when I say exploring, not let me put on the cloak of Hinduism and let me put on the cloak of Buddhism or Taoism or any of these isms that we can attribute ourselves to. And I just want to hear what you got to say. And like you said, if it resonates with me, it fits with me. That's how I came into some of the teachings of Buddhism, right? And because I was going through a breakup and I was obsessing.
Tell me about it.
I was obsessing.
Listen.
Over this breakup.
Listen. That's how my book, Since You Never Loved Me, got wrote.
That's what it's about. Like,
I'm going to tell you about this. Since You Never Loved Me, I was going through a period of, I was dating somebody, things didn't turn out as I imagined. And I was just trying to understand, like, I had just got off of the tour of my film, Color Love, things were going right. I'm just saying to myself, like, wow, I keep experiencing stuff like this. Like when I'm almost there, it's like it's being snatched away or this and that. And things I truly desire. And then that's when I started learning a little bit more about Buddhism.
Yes.
And attachment and being able to and desires and desires we have and things that we shouldn't desire. And I even start moving into one of my.
I don't think I knew that about you. I don't think I knew that that's how you came into having some sort of relationship with Buddhist concepts.
Yeah, I really I had already kind of started looking into some stuff, but then it really threw me into there when I read the book, When Things Fall Apart.
When Things Fall Apart.
Yeah. Pima Children. She's a
wow, you read that book too? Somebody is listening and she's like, that book is so good. Wow.
When Things Fall Apart, so I read that.
And so you were going through a breakup at this time when you got into it. Get you somebody that can refer you to a good book while you're going through a specific situation, because it can, when your heart is ready, when your heart is in that place of brokenness and exposed, you can really receive some information. It's going to sit with you.
Yeah, you can either receive it or reject it. Those are only two things, and most people reject it. Most people don't want to accept reality for what it is, and then they still hold on to it.
I don't know. I think people be looking for hope, because that's what happened with me. Right? I definitely felt like at this time I had already kind of detached from this concept, because you learn that there are over like 5,000 religions in the world. So I'd already kind of had my upbringing in a particular perspective, right? In terms of what it meant. Is it the all one and true, universal truth? Absolutely. I don't believe that, right? So I'm going through this breakup and I'm stressing and I'm telling somebody that I love and respect. His name is Ali. I'm telling him about my feelings. I'm so heartbroken over this girl that I'm dating. And, oh, she did this and all that. And he recommended this book for me called The Damn Book of Living and Dying. And I'm like, what is this, right? So the book is kind of strange. It's gonna put you in a different place, but you can look it up on YouTube. Like, a lot of these books are available on audio. You can clean up the house, right? You check out these books. But the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying basically enforce the idea of impermanence, right? And so how we do not prepare ourselves for things that are impermanent, like death. It's like we really be shocked at death. Like, and I get it, it's that initial wow, but I think oftentimes we are unprepared for death because we spend so much time saying, oh, don't say that. If somebody brings up that, don't talk about that, that when it comes, we are not prepared for those in-depth conversations about impermanence. I think one thing is even the scripture teaches. Grief is an interesting thing, death in particular, but the impermanence, like feeling the weight of people dying, losing loved ones, losing relationships.
But do you lose them?
See, that's the thing. You do lose them as they are. You do lose them as, if we come to a coffee shop every Tuesday, guess who's going to be sitting in that damn coffee shop by themselves? I can never count on you to pay for my coffee if you dead. You can't, you went up there and pay for it. So you lose them in a sense, but oh Lord, impermanence. It's like, wow, that's the hardest thing for me to grasp. Like, all of this stuff is temporary, but then it gives you kind of this attitude, like, of relief. Like, wow, I can let go of things because I know that they are meant to change. They are meant to, I have more gratitude for them when I have them. And that's another thing, possession. I started to use the word possession, but we don't possess anything. You don't possess jurisdiction over another person, their experiences, over their heart. And I think relationships kind of, well, this is the way I grew up in relationships. Now we stick it out, we work through it, we blah, blah, and that somebody owed me an explanation for how they were showing up in the relationship. Like, I could not fathom the inconsistency of that particular relationship. But anyway, you have to get me up here talking about all my feelings.
You told me that I could ask you questions.
You can, but listen, no, but that's, you know what love
space.
I have not had the opportunity to address love and lovers, and that's actually one of my favorite topics in the world is my relationships and the stories that I can tell. Like love literally changed my life, and I'm talking about romantic love because there's a love that's like, oh, love is love. It's so rich and beautiful and complicated, but it's so patient and it's so kind and it's so loving. But then it's that romantic part that you get with somebody and that pump and that passion that you have for another person that I can say has changed my life. It has been defining for me because there have been relationships that I've been in have wanted, I found myself wanting to soar. I believe it was Nikki Giovanni. She spoke at our school when I was in undergrad at the University of South Florida. She was talking about how love will have you dressing better, looking better, eating better, just because it is that special spark. That special, you know about love. You young, and you probably you
It's
young
the
and don't
qualities
know
that
about
people
love.
bring. It's the qualities that people bring.
Mm.
Whatever we identify love as, it's typically that sweetness, right? When you think about love, it's that beautiful,
That
pleasant
butter
experience.
on a hot roll or biscuit.
That sugar in the Kool-Aid.
It's that.
Is
It's
that?
that. Like you can drink this water. It's so necessary. This water, but it's like it's kind of boring. It's kind of it's so necessary, but it's so boring. But sometimes that love is just that ice cold Sprite, or Pepsi, whatever, something that's intense and it's sweet and it's addictive. That's terrible. I forgot about that. But anyway, comparing that to love, but or something a little
Yeah,
bit stronger.
I was gonna say I would compare my love to something a little bit more natural, like mango juice. I know I
Okay.
said
Yeah,
Kool-Aid,
you
but
is so sweet. But see,
a
my
little more like
relationship
mango
didn't
juice.
remind me of mango juice, but I ain't mango juice either.
You
So
don't want mango juice?
I love mango juice, but I wouldn't describe myself as the mango juice in somebody's life. I would describe myself as like a little, something infused with something that, like right now, I'm drinking this lavender coffee, like who says lavender latte, but just mixing stuff, but I wouldn't be nobody. But I can see
Mango.
this smooth, refreshing mango juice in the relationship that
Yeah.
that's what you saw that.
I try to be. I think, even for me, people think like, well, you don't get upset. Like, listen,
I don't
it
think
takes
you
a
can.
lot.
I don't think
It
it's
takes a
possible
lot,
for you
and
to
then
get upset.
what I have learned about me is that I would wait too long to say what's on my mind.
Ooh,
So I would let it keep going,
that
keep
part.
going, keep going. And then once I finally say what's on my mind, now it's like, well, now it looks like I'm antagonizing somebody.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
like
yeah,
no, like
like
you
you
took a
you've
lot.
been doing
Yeah,
yeah, I've
that's
been
why I let
doing
mine
this for
out
a while.
along the way. I don't think it's possible for you to get angry. I've never. You guys have been angry at something. When you can tell. People around you can tell. That's why I said
Um,
that. See, if you gotta take that long bag and hold your head back, it's not happening. Like, doesn't happen.
angry.
Exactly. You don't even know what that word really means. I get hungry. Like, angry. Like, you have the gentle spirit. Like, this is goals right here. This is peace goals and Buddha goals.
I get pissed off. Like I'm gonna be real. Like the thing to me is my biggest lesson last year was disappointment.
Right.
My biggest lesson was disappointment last year.
Another form of grief.
Right now, and I was able to really embrace it and transform it because I realized that a lot of times we may have all of these wonderful things imagined in our mind what people should do or what we want to experience. People don't meet that expectation or meet that particular experience, then it's like you get pissed off. But I only get pissed off once I've given you multiple chances to redirect and correct the experience.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I done had enough because you're not holding up your end of the bargain.
Yeah, you're trying
Exactly.
This point. Like, it's not that you don't know it, that you haven't heard me express it. It's not important to you to address it in a manner that I feel is effective. Yeah, I feel you on that.
And so, like I say, it takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It used to take me a long time to express that. So now
But that even goes back to what we're talking about in Buddhism. That expectation is you suffer because you have that attachment to the expectation. So how do you even approach relationships in this day and age from a perspective of wanting, desiring that closeness, but then how do you also
think that's unrealistic to not have expectations. Every cause has a cause, right? I'm speaking right now because of what I've learned English. Who taught me English? My teachers. Who taught them English? Their teachers. So every cause comes from a different cause. So to say that, oh, I don't have any expectations, to me that's kind of crazy. If you want to experience something, then that's an expectation about what you want to experience. And I think when we talk about relationships and things like that, taking it back to the home family structure, within the Black community, how do we build, and do I think that families are starting to separate or people are not being more cohesive? I think it's about what society is telling us about these expectations, right? You got people with these super high expectations of, oh, I want a man to be making this, a woman to be making that.
How do you feel about Kevin Samuels speaking of that?
I feel like Kevin Samuels, it's delivery more so about what's going on. I think people get upset at how he be talking to people directly, but if you sign up for that, then you signed up.
Literally, you have to call into
right.
him. You have to call into him.
So,
I think Kevin Samuels, my brother is a huge fan of Kevin Samuels, but I feel like Kevin Samuels is necessary. He brings a necessary part of the conversation. Like you said, you don't have to like his delivery, but you cannot ignore how Kevin Samuels resonated with so many Black men in particular. So many Black men felt like, well, I have a voice. And then the amount of Black women, and we saw protesting his words and really calling for him to be shut down, canceled. I got my own ideas about cancel culture, but basically wanting him off the air, signing petitions to have him. But that shows you something like, wow, what a stark difference in what is expected from Black men's perspective versus a Black woman's perspective.
Just imagine if a man went out and said that I want a woman to make an X, Y, Z amount of money so I can be a stay-at-home dad. How would that look, right? So then we go into the idea of gender roles and all these other different kind of things.
That have transformed throughout the years.
Right. I see the equality in people, right? If we're working together to establish a family unit or a system, then what does it matter? You know what I mean? If my girlfriend decides she wants to change a tire because she knows how to change a tire, go ahead, baby. If I'm going to cook because I know how to cook, I'll go ahead and cook. And I think back to the premise of the question is that do I think that it's separated? I'm not really sure. I can't really quantify the data, but I do know that in my circle of guys and friends, we had these conversations, and so I don't what I don't like is when people say that they use these words like everybody, all people,
or the majority.
We don't know that. We don't know that. I don't know necessarily, and I might have said this even through the interview, at a particular point. But when it comes to things like that, as far as like the divisiveness of man versus woman, or whatever anyone wants to identify as, I don't think that we're seeing the whole picture here.
Exactly. And so me being exactly so, and I have this kind of debate with my brother oftentimes too, because sometimes me being a woman that dates other women, I don't look at it through male versus female. I look at it as soul to soul, person to person. And so strip the gender norms like changing tires and who washing the dishes and who's expected to be the breadwinner. You are dealing with two personality traits, right? And that conversation should go from there versus men are naturally this. I mean, I don't know, but then you do want to acknowledge that men are naturally stronger, like
physically.
I don't know. I think I can.
Everybody been trying to arm wrestle me like for the last 2 weeks.
And I'm winning already. That's what we mean when we say the gender norms is changing.
Yeah. I like the idea of it's kind of like what you said about people. It's experiences. We only do what we know and what we're taught. It's an accumulation of the experiences that we go through. Who you are right now is because of the experiences that you go through.
Oh yes, Lord. So you're not giving this because I was born to this mother, this father, this name, this gender, this whatever. You are a collection. It reminds me of something I think I said on episode 2. We're a collection of our habits, right? We are a collection of the decisions that we make, right? And so again, going back to that planting of the seeds, being intentional about who we're investing in, who we're forming friendships with, who we're forming relationships with and connections with, because you have to know like that person is rubbing off on you. That person is drawing from you, but also imparting in you, and you don't even realize until the breakup. Like, damn, man, you showed us how to connected. They taught me so many things, or I took a different thought process in life because I was with this type of person. So you are influential beyond what you oftentimes realize. And relationships will show you that, boy. Relationships show you who you are more so than being single, in my opinion.
I think the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I'm by myself, I know a lot more about myself.
Really?
When I'm with
But
someone
how do
else,
you point it out to you?
I guess. So when we talk about relationships, we're talking about an intimate sort of relationship.
Yeah, like I go with you, you go with me.
All right, rephrase the question for me.
I don't even know what we was talking about.
Because
Basically,
I was gonna say for me, you know, when I look at relationships, I look at the people around me, everybody around me I'm connected to, and I see all of those as sort of intimate relationships.
Relationships show you who you are. In my opinion, relationships show you who you are. We can say in a different way than being single shows you who you are.
So
Like
you
that's
mean
self-awareness,
intimate
right?
relationship with somebody?
Or just anybody, even a coworker, even a friend.
Okay, yeah.
I
But
don't
then
see
sure,
who I am. I don't see how hype I am and how assertive I am until I am around an Antwon.
Mm.
Because I need that mirror to see myself because I see you.
Right.
But what I don't have is somebody giving me that information, that exchange about myself. So time with self is knowing yourself definitely in an important way.
Right.
I think people should have that self-awareness, but to me, you gain the most self-awareness in relationship to others. Definitely your intimate relationships. You see who they are, everything you don't like about them can give you information about what you don't like about them.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yeah.
Whatever you don't like about another person, it shows you what you care about. It shows you what your values are. People that one coworker at work, what is it that they do that hurts you so much and that shows you kind of where your values are?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if it hurts me, the fact that this person seems to be the office gossip, it shows me that, okay, I have a soft spot for people who I feel are whatever the case may be. But you see who you are by standing next to someone.
Yeah.
So you do
I
agree.
would say, yeah, but that's what I'm trying to define. Like when you said relationships, what type of relationships?
Mm-hmm.
If it's just all relationships, yeah, when you interacting with other people, of course you're gonna have to be faced with a decision. Do I respond this way or do I respond that way?
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how you respond, again, becomes the norm for your reality. So
Right.
if I'm responding this compulsive way all the time, and I'm confused as to why I keep getting this experience, it's because that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you switch that up, don't matter if it's the same person or somebody different. You respond to, and how I see it is we go through very similar experiences over and over and over. And it's just a matter of how are we responding to it. If we don't recognize that, oh, this is similar to this one over here, we may keep, continue to respond to it compulsively and not realize that that's exactly what we're doing and why we continue to suffer and why we continue to experience these unpleasant experiences. So,
Antwon, tell people for a minute. We're about to wrap it up in so much. Tell people how they can connect to you, how they can connect to your work, whether it be Hush or Phil. Oh, tell us about when the film is coming back around. If it's coming back to Fort Myers, tell us how we can stay connected to you. Tell us about the books. Tell us where we can connect with you.
You can connect with me, Facebook, Instagram. You can go to the website, A38 Films, that's letter A, number 3, number 8, films.com. The books, you can find them on Amazon.com. Since You Never Loved Me, Reticent, Summer Soul and Despair, The Orchard of Sentiment.
Poetry. Which one is like your haikus?
It's Since You Never Loved Me.
Is that
that's a really great book. And then I have another book I'm releasing soon called The We and Us. The We and Us, which talks about the connection between us as energetic beings.
Wow.
So like you said, that mirror reflection, we being able to see the we and us.
The we and us. To be known and to know. What a powerful Okay, so Antwon, we need to get the spelling right. I'll be tagging Mr. Antwon and all of this, and this on social media so you can see how to connect with Antwon. But I think that Antwon, you should be a guest, a consistent guest, and a friend of the Juice Fresh Talk podcast because I feel like you have a lot to contribute. But tell us about the Hush documentary. Where was the next screening? Where was the last screening? Was Fort Myers the last screening?
Yeah. Fort Myers is the last screening before the hurricane. The next screening, we'll be figuring that out soon. Rebooting the screening tour, rebooting the everything for this film to make sure that it's out there. We already started submitting to film festivals.
Okay.
So
I love
this
that.
film is about to be we're about to do what we gotta do.
That's what's up.
So
And
be on the lookout.
I hope to see more people support the Hush documentary. It was a sold out show.
Yeah.
At the Alliance of the Arts in Fort Myers, and I had the opportunity to host that.
Yeah, you did your thing too. You did your thing.
Out here doing it. I can't do my thing unless you doing your thing. How have I been doing my thing that night if you wasn't already doing your thing, producing documentaries, getting the word out about Black mental health? So, the mirror.
Wow.
I can't do me unless you do you. I mean, I can do me a lot better than you doing you. So we gotta keep each other lifted. Because you were able to bless us here tonight on Juice Fresh Talk podcast. So what's next for you? What's your motivation these days?
Me?
That. Simple as that. It don't even like me. When I always say like, oh, that's selfish.
You know, I just wrote a post about that. You know, people always say, "What's next?" Nothing. What's next is what's next.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think a lot of times people want to jump to what's next is because they're competing with other people. They're looking at what other people are doing.
Yeah, you're so unhappy with the present.
Right. You know, you're not even focusing on what's going on right here.
Hard to grapple. It's hard to grapple with the present.
I love the present.
See, that's the thing.
I love the present.
Like, don't nobody wake up and say they love the present.
I love the present.
You know, you have to learn to practice to be in the present. At least I do. I've learned to value the present a lot more. But the present is kind of boring sometimes. So I rather like visualize about the future or just rewind arguments from the past. It might be low key boring sometimes.
Yeah, see, and I've been breaking out of those habits. Like I catch myself thinking about, man, this person really. Oh no, boy, come on.
Well, when I do listen, I heard arguments from years ago how I would respond. They were like, you never see these people again. But it's I want to get better at it. Like, dang, I should have responded like this. But to me, it keeps me going.
But you get to do that in the next situation.
But I can't practice for the next. All it is practice. I got to review the tapes. We got to run the tapes back. Now, here you said this, when we could have hit this and bam, the conversation would have went that way. But anyway, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Antwon Lindsey, author, teacher, filmmaker, director, producer extraordinaire, Black excellence, baby. We gonna let them see. Thank you so much for joining us.
You gonna give me a handshake
on the Juice podcast.
That's what I need.
This is my best friend, y'all. I love Antwon. So he will be back with us next week. Hopefully we'll have a very special guest. We'll have our co-host. We're gonna bring back Chuck. This is Carlton Chuck Rhodes as co-host of the Juice Fresh Talk podcast. So we have Dr. Cindy Bonnier. Shout out to Big Mouth Media. Shout out to Seed and Bean Cafe, where we are live right now, hanging out at Seed and Bean. Hey, shout out to the movement. Shout out to wealth and health and love and self-awareness. Shout out to planting those seeds. What do you want to say shout out to?
Shout out to being limitless. Don't ever let nobody tell you the sky's the limit. It isn't. Go beyond it. You know, you can do whatever you put your mind to, whatever you put your energy, effort, attention towards. Be limitless.
Yeah, that's all right. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Peace.